Hey there, welcome to Treadmill Review Guru. Today we're going to take a look at the Echelon EX-5s Connect Bike. So Echelon does have several bikes in their lineup, but only two of them include a touchscreen. The EX-5s and the new EX-7s. So we're going to look at this one today. As you can see, it has the 21.5-inch touchscreen. It is a rear flywheel design, so that flywheel is tucked back under the saddle rather than up under the handlebars. It's very quiet, has 32 levels of magnetic resistance. So let's jump into it and take a closer look at who it's best suited for. All right, so let's take a closer look at who this bike is best suited for. This bike is extremely silent. So if I turn the pedals, you literally don't hear anything. So it's really good for people who need something quiet. It's also relatively compact. As you can see, the frame itself doesn't take up much room and it only weighs 124 pounds. So it's lightweight, compact, and it has a very comfortable seat. So we test a lot of bikes in here. I sit on a lot of spin bikes. This saddle is really pretty comfortable, so you can enjoy your rides for longer without getting uncomfortable. It also is affordable, which is really nice. So you still get that attached touchscreen with all the subscription content and stuff, but the price is very reasonable. And it does have lots of class options. So the Fit app that you subscribe to when you purchase this bike costs $39 a month. But you get off bike classes where you can do strength training and stuff on the floor. You also get cycling classes in like a studio. And then they even have outdoor rides. They're not led by an instructor. They're just like a drone video. But you can kind of put those on if you want to ride, which I personally like as well. So it's well suited for people who are looking for those things. It is not the best for someone who does not want a subscription because a lot of the functionality of the bike is integrated into the touchscreen. And the touchscreen really only works if you're using the subscription. You don't have much functionality without it. So if you're looking for a subscription, this is awesome. If you want something simple and don't want to pay a monthly fee, it's probably not the best. So let's take a look at the overall construction of the EX-5s Connect Bike. So first thing you'll notice, it has a different frame design. You can see this is a V-shaped frame where the flywheel is in the rear of the bike. And the benefit to that is that it's out of what they call the sweat zone. So if you've ever done a spin class or sat inside, you drip, sometimes more than you think. And so placing that flywheel back there just removes it from an area where you're dripping or sweating down on it. It does not change the way the bike feels, and it does not change the way it functions as you ride it. So if you get up on it, you really can't tell a difference between whether or not the flywheel's in the front or the back. The only little change that it makes is right here, the brake lever. Usually you just press down on the brake and it engages a brake pad that then slows the flywheel. On this one, you press down on the brake this way and it comes down through the frame to slow the flywheel here. So that's really the only difference that you're gonna notice while you're on the bike. One of the things that it does do, however, is it provides more span as you lift the handlebars and seat. So for taller riders, rather than just bring it straight up where your reach is kind of set at a certain spot, it will expand that reach as you raise both handlebar and the saddle. So it's a good option for taller riders. And you have 4 adjustment points here. So the saddle will raise and it will slide in and out. You can also lift the handlebars, and as you can see here, you can adjust the handlebars forward and back. So that's a nice feature that you get here as well. The frame itself is all steel. You can see it's powder coated to be rust resistant and stuff like that. One thing I really like about this bike is that you do have the front mounted wheels, so you can lift it and move it if you need to. And it also has adjustable levelers. So these feet down here will screw up or release down, so that you can make sure that you've got it right on your floor and it's not rocking back and forth. So you have 4 adjustable feet on the bottom underneath those stabilizers. The pedals are hybrid. So this is a personal thing that I always look for on a bike because I like to ride clipped in. But I like to have the option of other family members, or if I'm just doing something real quick, to just slide a regular athletic shoe in. So the hybrid pedals right here, you can see you have an SPD clip right on this side. So you can use that with a cycling shoe that has an SPD clip on it, which would be ones that you use for like mountain biking or typically in spin classes. And then you do have the flat pedal on this side with a little bit of a grip here, and then your cage and adjustable strap. So you can ride it with those different kinds of shoes, which is an advantage if you have different riders that are gonna ride it. So another thing you'll notice is these are pop pins, and they can be a little tricky when you first use them, because if you don't know otherwise, you'll see that lever, when you adjust it exactly how you want it, might stick out to the side, but you can pull it out and drop it down so that it's out of your way. So the pop pins, as opposed to the knobs, work just as well, and just make sure that you've got those out of the way so they're not sticking out when you make those adjustments. The handlebars, I really like the design of these handlebars. Two things that I like about it. You have multiple handle positions, and the handlebars, the rear bar is angled just a little bit. So I have upright grips here. I also have a nice arrow bar in the middle, and the back end of this handlebar right here is thicker. So if I'm gonna rest on my forearms and hang on to that arrow bar, or if I'm gonna sit up here and hold on to the grips, you've got a nice resting spot. It's very comfortable there. Not a lot of bikes have that. And it also has just kind of a protective coating that is a little bit soft on the top and sweat absorbent. As I mentioned earlier, the saddle is really quite comfortable, and you can slide it forward and back. The bike itself only weighs 124 pounds, but it will support up to 300 pounds. So it's a good option for most users. And it does have magnetic resistance. So as I demoed before, if you turn those pedals, regardless of the resistance level you're on, it doesn't make any noise. So Echelon does cover this with a limited 1-year warranty on parts and labor. So let's take a look at the console and the app interface with the Echelon bike. So this is Echelon Connect, and this is your main screen that comes up as soon as you turn on your bike. So you just select your user and come in. So let's just kind of look at the overall app interface and stuff like that. As you can see, there are live rides. So right up here at the top is your library of upcoming live events. So you have cycling, strength, so these are your upcoming strength events, tone, and they don't currently have any for stretching. So right here, these are your upcoming cycling events. You can kind of scroll through and see which ones are coming in the next few days. They do have more cycling classes than the strength and tone, but they do offer those. So I'll show you more of those in a minute. So up here at the top, this is your live class bar. Right down here, these are challenges. So they always have these challenges, and sometimes they'll change a little bit. A round robin challenge right here is, these are all different instructors. So you just take a class from each instructor, and then you earn a badge. There's 20 classes, it lasts for 8 weeks, and then they rotate the class from each instructor, and it keeps track up here of how many you've completed if you want to do that challenge. So here's a newbie challenge. If you're new to riding, they have these just 10-minute quick rides that are kind of fun. And then they also have pyramid challenges where you work your way up. So 20, 30, 45, 60, things like that. And then Tour de Echelon. So once more, these are just, they've broken them up into stages. And then you have the 2020 challenge. So all their different challenges these are all 20 minutes. All their different challenges are kind of fun, and they'll mix them up every so often. So if you come down here, these are all their on-demand classes. So these are the ones that have either already been broadcast live and now they're on demand, or they were just on demand originally. But you can see right here, it'll have a description of the class with how many minutes the class is, so 45, 30, 20, and you can see these were filmed right around Christmas, so they have the Christmas trees in the background. And then they'll divide them up. So these are the holiday ones, then you have beginner classes, warm up, cool down, trending, which is kind of the most popular ones, and then bike boot camp, which is some on the bike, some off the bike, hills, cadence, power, Tabata, so they've got all these. And then down here at the bottom, this is a feature, it's personally my favorite feature of Echelon that I really, really like, and that is they have scenic rides. And so you can see it just brings up these outdoor rides. You have your metrics down here at the bottom, and this kind of is your heart rate, if your heart rate is connected, headphones, if your headphones are connected, and you have the option of adjusting the volume if you would like to. So, and then over here, there's a leaderboard. So you can see that leaderboard of people that have ever ridden the bike. Now, regardless of how fast you ride, it doesn't change the speed of, so I'm gonna push the pedals real quick. So it doesn't necessarily go faster if you ride faster. The speed is somewhat set, but you do get down here your resistance, so I can adjust that. If I want to turn it up, I adjust that resistance knob. Your output is basically your wattage, and it gives you your cadence. Down here at the bottom, it's distance, speed, calories, and total output, which is kilojoules. It's basically your watts over time. And then this will tell you your average and best, kind of as far as output goes. And this just is your bar for how you're moving through the program, so how far into it you are. Over here, it will connect with wireless headphones. So you can see these I connected the other day. That was really easy. I just put my headphones in pairing mode and they came right up. So you do have the option of connecting with wireless headphones. So right down here where we were, those are your featured. And then on demand, these are your different on-demand classes that you can jump to really quick. Here is their library of scenic rides. So you got lots of different options for those scenic rides. They're quite extensive, and they range from 10 minutes, 15 minutes, all the way up. I think the longest one I saw was 45. But I love to do these. I'll just pop these in for a quick ride and they're really fun. And then Fit Pass are basically your strength classes off the bike. So you can see these are filmed in a studio. You've got meditation, upper body, yoga, and of course they're divided up by how long they are. So you've got different options and stuff like that. So that's kind of the overview there. If I go to live, it will bring up live classes that are coming up soon today. And then progress is just how many rides you've done this week, how many rides you've done over time, things like that. So down here, if I go to the More button, this is where you bring up, you can adjust things in your account. So you can, if you have other friends that are on Echelon, you can send requests and things like that and ride with other people, which is always fun. Leaderboard preferences, you can put a photo in, do a nickname, put your city, stuff like that. And then you can switch your users or sign out if you need to. So if you want to do a manual ride, this actually took me a minute to find, so it's something to be aware of. You don't have a manual button down here. Instead, you go to More, and then you come right here to Freestyle Ride. So this is your manual mode. It's basically just a blank screen, but you do have your metrics down there at the bottom. So if you want to ride manual, go to the More dots down at the bottom, and that's how you access manual mode right there. And then they have app live chat for things, tutorial videos. You can change the measurements. So if you would like metric rather than imperial, you can do that. And then a few other adjustments. Down here, if you have a connected account, it will sync with Strava. So you can sync with your Strava or your Fitbit account. So other nice options I like as well. So just going back here, the other thing you'll notice is there are speakers, they're front-facing speakers, which is really nice. So the volume is directed towards you. So you'll notice down here, just below the handlebars, you do have this tray. It will hold a water bottle. You kind of have to get it out and around simply because it's underneath the handlebars and a little bit behind the screen, but it does provide a nice place to set things. There's no like tablet holder, there's no place to put a phone. So usually I will just drop my phone right there in the cup holder, and it works fine. If you had a larger phone, it may not work, but for a smaller phone, it works fine. So let's go into the functionality of the bike, how it actually feels and rides when you're on it. One thing to be aware of, the step over height right here is not very high, but it does require just a little bit of leg flexion. So you've got to be able to get your foot up. I measured it, it's about 18 inches high. So that's one thing to be aware of. Your span here at the very bottom is 9 inches, and then it extends as you go up. So really the only tricky thing would be just to make sure you can actually get on and off the bike. Once you're on it, it's very comfortable to ride. So you do have those hybrid pedals. You can flip it over depending on which side you want. And I'll just pedal a little bit here for you. This is really impressively quiet. So, and I find that the 4 adjustment points takes me just a minute to find the right fit. I had to adjust it a few times, up, down, forward, and back, but then once I got it, it's very comfortable. The other thing is, I'm going to demo for you. As I sit here and ride, you can see that the bike itself is very stable. One thing we get questions about all the time is screen wobble. Some of the bikes will have, especially when they have an attached touchscreen, you'll have just a little bit of movement in the screen as you ride, right? The screen actually is very securely attached via this steel bar to the handlebars. So any slight shifting that I get from side to side, is not the result of instability in the screen. It's just the way I'm moving on the bike. It's the same with a treadmill. When you're on a treadmill, you're just going to get a little bit of bounce. It's just the way that it's designed. So if you notice any screen wobble, it's not an indication that the screen itself is unstable. It's just as I ride the bike, there's just going to be a little bit of movement. Some people, if you ride really heavy side to side, really shift those hips, that can make the screen wobble worse. So you want to just ride nice and stable, keep those hips directly over the saddle, make sure that your weight is in your hips, and it reduces any sort of problem. The screen itself tilts up and down. So if I've got lights or something, I can reduce overhead glare, but it does not swivel side to side. Their new EX7 bike does, but this screen does not swivel side to side, but it will incline right there. All right, so let me show you. If I'm down here riding, my adjustment knob is directly beneath me. I personally very much like a knob, and it's just a quick turn and it will adjust that resistance. So I'm going to stand up out of the bike. Still very quiet. I don't have any more noise from the resistance, even as I make it more difficult. I'm going to take it all the way to the top. There's 32 levels of resistance. So you can see it gets quite heavy, but still manageable. But no more or less noise depending on your resistance level. So let me drop that down. And then the other thing that I did mention before is it has a brake. Rather than press directly down, you pull it back towards you, and that helps. All right, let me demo the bike fit just a little bit. I wanted to get on it when I had it where I like it. But if you do, when you first get on it and you want to adjust, just release these levers. You got pop pins here in the back, and then once you get it where you want, pull it out, and I'm going to lift this all the way up so you can see the max height there. And then I want to get that lever all the way down. Okay, so that's as high as the saddle goes. I can slide it in or slide it back. So you have quite a bit of adjustment. You've got 7 inches here, and then up to 16, I don't think those are inches, but 16 different levels of adjustment here on the back end. On the handlebars, it's the same. This is the highest setting right here. So I've got it set to level 8, and you can slightly adjust the handlebars forward or back. So the screen stays where it is. So for those who are taller, you can really get nice wide reach right here. And for shorter riders, you can adjust it in a little bit tighter. So one other thing I wanted to demo for you, this bike does have wheels on the front end. So if needed, you can pick it up and roll it. So we always recommend grabbing it from that rear stabilizer, and the only trick is to watch the top of that screen. It's easy to whack stuff because you're paying attention down here. Remove any weights, you can lift it, and it actually rolls really pretty easy. So the bike does not come with weights. You have to buy them separately. So we just grabbed some that we had here in the office, but you can see they sit right behind. I personally prefer the weights behind me rather than in front of me because I don't use the weights every time I ride. I might use it 1 in every 4 or 5 rides. So I want them out of my way. And then if I grab them, I need them, put them back in here. So they're just an easy reach here to the back. They're not included, you do have to buy them separately, just to give you an idea of how they are when they're in that cage. I have really enjoyed riding the Echelon EX-5s Connect Bike. It's very comfortable. I really like the saddle. That's probably one of my favorite features is the saddle and the handlebars on this. So that's just one thing that I just kind of wanted to point out as a pro. Another thing is the silent magnetic resistance really makes no noise. And the bike is very comfortable. So you do have the flywheel on the back, but it doesn't change the way you feel while you ride it. It's also lightweight. 124 pounds really isn't too heavy, so you can lift it and roll it if you need to. And the attached touchscreen is a nice addition. And it comes at a very reasonable price, right? So it's good for people who need something quiet, compact, comfortable, and lightweight, but it will again support up to 300 pounds. A few things to be aware of. This has a relatively limited warranty. 1 year limited warranty on parts and labor is not as extensive as we see on other bikes. So that's something to be aware of. The other thing is the touchscreen is not quite as clear and crisp as some of the other bikes that we've tested as well. So we did kind of put them side to side, and I moved from one bike to another. So you could just kind of see that the screen just isn't quite on par with some of the other ones, but you do get good programming, you get good content, it's engaging and fun. So just a few things to be aware of. And then it does require a subscription. So just know that if you're jumping into this bike, it doesn't have a lot of functionality without the subscription. So that's just a few things to be aware of. In general, we are impressed. I found it to be very comfortable and enjoyable. So if you'd like to read the full written review, make sure and check us out at treadmillreviewguru.com. I've written up a full review there with pictures. And for current pricing, check the link below. And as always, if you liked our video, make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up.